Orbital Drop Shock Troopers, humanity's iron fists that exist purely to crack enemy defenses. These troopers are the best of the best, receiving the most intensive training, top-line equipment, and respect from the rest of the UNSC, who affectionately call these soldiers Hell Jumpers. They are feared galaxy-wide, from the Covenant's most devoted zealots and remnants to the Marxists and insurrectionists of the interplanetary and insurgency wars, respectively. This unit is the elite special operations group within the Marines and Navy, being a combination of the Marine Raiders, Recon, and Navy SEALs in some regards. They are the ones who are called upon when all else fails. The ODST branch is an all-volunteer military detachment that serves as the rapid reaction force of the Marines and are often deployed in the trademark, if unconventional, manner known as a trans-orbital support drop. This is where individual troopers are delivered onto the battlefield using a single occupancy exo-atmospheric insertion vehicle that is launched from a naval vessel, often a frigate, destroyer, or cruiser, that quickly passes over the drop zone in low orbit to deploy hundreds of ODSTs at a time, reducing the potential of the ship being lost or damaged in the process. This method of insertion takes the concept of a shock trooper to the extreme, because these soldiers would seem to appear out of the blue in a blinding flash and thunderous crash that signaled the entrance of a squadron of highly trained and deadly warriors onto the battlefield, bursting out of their SOBs to find the legendary commando style that hits hard and fast to knock the enemy off balance and keeps them there as the troopers carve a swath for the Marines to follow up in an assault. However, being a rapid reaction force isn't their only role within the military, because ODSTs also conduct higher end special operation missions such as recon, sabotage, counterterrorism, and direct action missions, the latter of which scored the unit's most acclaimed kill of the war during Operation Greyvale, when an unidentified lower prophet was assassinated by a 5-man team led by Spartan Cal 141 on the planet of Hyan. ODST O'Brien practically bisected the prophet with a single round of 14.5 by 114mm into the back after Spartan Cal was mortally wounded, partially beheading the Covenant's high command in this single move. Cal 141 would die in the presence of the ODSTs. Her last words were for O'Brien to take the shot with total confidence in the trooper's capability.
O'Brien, now! You're the only one who can do it.
Which was quite shocking for the men to hear, because ODSTs loathe having to work under Spartans and have been trying to annoy Cal the entire mission, questioning each order and backtalking the super soldier because of a deep-seated hatred ODSTs have of Spartans. This can be traced back to 2525, when on board the UNSC Atlas, a freshly augmented John 117, the Master Chief, would get into a fight with 4 ODSTs and actually kill 3 while severely injuring the 4th. This Spartan, who only at 14 years old, had beaten 4 fully grown shock troopers single-handedly and effectively ripped the Alpha Dog status the branch bolstered away in just a few seconds, destroying the organization's pride when these guys, who literally live by the motto "into hell feet first," were suddenly not coveted as the unit to be, but seen as better trained Marines who dropped out of the stratosphere. Every single ODST viewed Spartans as abominations of science and man who killed 3 of their brothers during a sparring match and went on to steal their glory during the war. Yet even with this hatred and mistrust, both branches fought side by side flawlessly throughout the Human Covenant War and into the post-war galaxy as a near-perfect duo that complemented each other's strengths. And it was during this war, the Hell Jumpers really show their mettle, proving that their branch is still an essential part of the UNSC. Often, they found themselves thrown into the heaviest fighting within a battle, valiantly scrapping tooth and nail with the aliens from the distant colony of Harvest during the first contact event, all the way to the tail end of the war on Reach, Earth and the Ark, where the numbers would be bled almost dry. And it was on Reach where they would assist the protagonist of my previous Halo video, Noble Team, in their frontal assault against the Covenant's vanguard early in the campaign, then again during Operation White Glove, lending their combat prowess and deadly skill to help the Spartan team infiltrate the base and to rescue Dr. Catherine Halsey and a fragment of the Cortana AI before scuttling the base. Their next engagement after the fall of Reach would be the Battle of Earth. During the opening phases, ODSTs would help defend the orbital defense platforms Cairo, Athens, and Malta against the Covenant borders, but sadly only Cairo remained in humanity's hands despite their best efforts, allowing the Covenant fleet a sacred consecration to land on Earth around the city of New Mombasa, which is when a different company of ODSTs would try to board the Covenant assault carrier Solemn Penance and the appropriately named Operation Bumrush, but the carrier would open a slipspace rift before the company could land, knocking the drop pods off course and killing many, so only a single squadron landed safely within the city below, kickstarting the events of Halo 3 ODST. All troopers are adopted from other branches where they had already gathered many years of combat experience and became proficient soldiers, giving each cadet a baseline of experience before they even get to boot camp. The initial ODST training period lasts 3 weeks alone and is composed of high-intensity exercises, marathon-length runs, calisthenics and obstacle courses, and artificial snow and slush, and crawling under mile-long barbed wire tracks through thick mud or over rubble landscapes, while live rounds are fired mere inches over their heads, all to bring each candidate up to peak physical condition and desensitizing them to the realities of war. Concurrently with this, they also begin jump school. Candidates practice leaping from high platforms as a rudimentary introduction into transorbital drops, preparing the troopers for what is to come. But any trainee deemed unsuitable to become an ODST is dropped from the course of this phase, whether that be because they are not physically fit enough or mentally sound of mind to serve this elite group, and are returned to the original unit. And then the real boot camp begins, starting with squad tactics where squadrons of 12 men are formed in the class. This is where candidates are dressed in ODST training gear, given a weapon loaded with training rounds, they cause temporary paralysis, and are told to climb a mountain together. Any trainee who is not going fast enough for the drill instructor's liking is at the receiving end of a very unique and motivational tool, aka being shot in the leg with a training round and forced to continue on one leg, and if this isn't good enough, their other leg will also be shot, so they have to crawl their way to the top, slowing their entire squadron down and being resented by their peers. This exercise is repeated time and time again, each iteration becoming more challenging through a variety of ways: decreased time during harsh weather, wearing heavier gear, facing down another squadron who are armed with training rounds and told to eliminate you, etc, etc. Eventually though, the squads are broken down into individual fire teams of 4 to 5 men for the tactical training course. This is where trainees learn how to operate as small, fast, and mobile subunits on a battlefield that is part of a bigger organization, giving them the flexibility to operate in smaller teams, which is the fundamental battle structure ODST teams follow. Light infantry that are hit hard and fast, but are unified under a large command structure. And in line with this, they run the same exercise again, starting off as individual fire teams to fight one-on-one against another fire team, then joined by second groups so they work together to reach the top against an opposing force, progressively forming larger units until 3 fire teams are formed back to a squad again, 3 squads to a platoon, 4 platoons to a company, and so forth to create capable and effective units that are flexible and strong, but can subdivide into autonomous, smaller units to tackle whatever situation arises on the battlefield. And this seems to be because ODSTs buy wholeheartedly into the quote, a plan never survives contact with the enemy, from Prussian Field Marshal Helmut von Moltke, because each member is expected to be an expert in a given skill, but also proficient enough in every weapon system and sensor in the inventory to fill any boots. So by the time they graduate, these warriors can function as a sniper, scout, communications officer, artillery observer, or plain old trooper. The abridged version of this story is that ODSTs are downright badasses on the battlefield and deserve every ounce of respect for their tenacity in combat. Yet these men act stoic and quite rude to anyone who is not within the ranks, while at the same time being jovial and carefree when interacting with colleagues. This is because they think of themselves as better to their fellow soldiers and marines due to their advanced training and commando mindset, giving ODSTs a superiority complex that's only bolstered by their excellence in combat. ODSTs are dressed in their signature battle dress uniform, which is a set of armor comprised of jump boots, combat gloves, ballistic armor plating protecting their legs and arms, and a heavy tactical vest all worn over a body glove that is hermetically sealed into their visored helmet, creating a self-contained environment that provides particularly good protection during combat and allows extravehicular activities in space for up to 15 minutes, creating an extremely intimidating yet practical appearance that is synonymous with ODSTs. They are typically armed with their standard issue MA5Cs and BR-55 rifles, but also have free reign to choose anything from the UNSC arsenal, such as the M7 SMG, M90 shotgun, SRS 99C sniper rifles, or anything else that suits their fancy, allowing these helljumpers to pick and choose what they want to carry into battle that best fits the mission profile. So that is a brief look at the Orbital Drop Shock Troopers, an amazing special forces and frontline assault organization who fought their way through the Human Covenant War with distinction. A special thank you to my friend Thorn for being my battle buddy in this video. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.
Rampage. Reinforcement.
So much grenades.
I just got a freaking rampage right there. I'm coming, dude.
Oh god. So much.
I'm
It's
coming,
just constantly
bro.
trying to dodge.